We're here. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Geekday podcast. We're turning your weekday into a geek day. I am one of your hosts, Rob, and with me today I have my other host, Mr. Alex Moon.
Hi, that's me.
And we also have a very special third face here, introducing Mr. Solar Punk. Hey, Solar Punk, how you doing?
Hey guys,
Hey.
thank you for having me on. Long time listener, first time guest.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you on the show. We've been chatting about this for I feel like forever lately,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now we're finally able to do this, and on a
It
Monday.
feels, yeah, yeah.
On
It
a
feels
Monday.
kind of unreal just being here. So yeah, thank you for having me on.
Of course, of course. Well, I mean, I want to start this off. Of course, one acknowledging, hey guys, it's Monday. Of course, we say we do this every week, so we're doing it every week. You may get two this week. You may get one. We'll figure it out, you know. But shout out already to Vince in the chat, asking is his favorite couple here yet? Yes, we are.
Me and
We've
Solar
got
Punk are here.
Yes,
Yeah.
straight out of marriage counseling. They finally made their way over here. But guys, it's been a very busy past week, at least for me specifically. But let's go ahead and jump right in with what nerdy things did you get up to this week? And I want to go ahead and start with you, Mr. Alex Moon.
Oh God, I was about to take pills.
Oh no, okay.
Yes.
I can move over
I can
to.
start. I can start. Yeah, if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though I am technically, canonically, and also literally the oldest one here, I'm not.
True.
I'm not. But so I guess nerdy things this week. Watching a lot of good TV shows and movies. So I saw the Mario movie this week, and
Hell
also
yeah.
Daredevil, the double episode, 2 and 3, and then Invincible. I think episode 3, which, oh my gosh, just best episode. Like, I don't know if we'll have time to talk about it, but best episode of the season so far. So crazy. But yeah, just watching a lot of TV shows, movies, and also I guess the best nerdiest thing that I did this week was I actually got to meet Stephanie Phillips at a yep. I got to meet her at a comic book signing, and she signed uh, 3 of my books
Oh
at Third Eye
wow.
Comics in Maryland. So that was
Oh,
actually Saturday. So yeah,
I'm
I can show you
jealous.
off. Yeah, so I have this is the blind bag that I pulled. I got the Gabriel Del autograph,
Oh, it's a
which this
beautiful
is the one
cover.
that I really wanted. I only got one blind bag because that's my rule. I stick to just one blind bag. Whatever I get is whatever I get. And I got the Gelato. She signed it,
Oh,
and
jealous.
she signed Legends of the Dark Knight issue 4 that she wrote. Amazing, great,
Okay.
like one shot comic. Highly recommend. And then I didn't have it, but I bought it from her stand. I got the A cover because like you gotta get the Lee Garbett. Like
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
can go over Lee Garbett, and yeah, I got to talk to her, and I made a video about it, kind of talking about it when I don't know if you how many like signings you guys have been to, but whenever you're in line, you're just like planning what you're gonna say in your head like over and over because you don't want to forget. And then when you actually get up to them, you just kind of your mind just blanks and you're like, and
Oh.
you just like riff and you're just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and like it's so cool to meet you. Like I loved your run and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. And like so I
Mm-hmm.
get to say like most of the things that I want to say, but like they're definitely and I want it to be respectful of everyone's time. You don't want to take up the time of everyone else that's been waiting for hours. I got there 5 in the morning because like
Oh,
I wanted to be one of the first people in line because I had some other obligations like after, but also the first 10 people got like a free prize, and I was able to get like a poster from like the signing, and she signed the poster as
that's
well.
Oh.
awesome.
So I'm gonna frame the poster. So very excited about that. But yeah, that was my week.
That's sick. It's so
Dude.
funny that you say that about like, oh, you don't know what like you have this all these things planned in your head. And last year I took my wife and my in laws, my sisters in laws, and then my niece and whatever. It was a whole big group of us to Alamo City Comic Con. Oh, no, Big Texas Comic Con. It's not Alamo City anymore. Comic Con, and they were like, "Oh, this is cool." And then we got to the part in the very back where they have all the like not influencer but like celebrity signings and stuff,
Yeah.
and they were like, oh cool, of course, like Jason Isaacs is there from Harry Potter, and then like there's a bunch of other like WWE stars and stuff, and they're like, oh, this is cool. And for the first time I've ever seen, like, I saw one of my sisters-in-law like freak out about someone. It was one of the people from Cobra Kai. Like, not even like
Okay.
like not like oh my
Not the
god, what is
main
it?
guy.
Not even Sholo, not even Jacob
Yeah.
Bertrand or whatever. It's like some like side character, but she like loved him, and immediately she's like, "I'm buying a signing right now." And the entire time she's like, "I'm gonna say like this, and I'm gonna say like, oh my god, like you're amazing, you know, you did this, blah blah blah." And then she gets it there, and all she says is, "I love you."
I
It-
mean, yeah, like it's
yeah,
just like like they're just regular normal people, but like, we've just like kind of like put them on this pedestal, or like they're just like whoa, so cool, and just like we want to make sure we say the right things, and then but yeah,
That's
thankfully she was
amazing.
really sweet, really patient, like really took the time to speak with everyone. So and I really like that. There are some signings where they're just like signing away and they're like next
Yeah.
next, but like some artists like really take the time and talk with people, and and she's amazing. So yeah.
that's
Oh, that's
badass.
so cool. I remember kind of like Robert. An anecdote I have is last year they had the Casa event. It was like a Comic Arts of San Antonio thing, and Evan Narcissus was there. He's one of the co-writers of the Sam Wilson book that came out last year, and I was in line to like get him to sign my copy of it, and I was like, I was like, oh man, I want to ask him about like how it was writing this character with the racial tension that's going on in this book and all that shit. And I got up to him and I was like, I like it to Sam Wilson, and he was like, oh cool, and I just handed it to him and he's like, you want me to sign this? And I was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
I like to imagine you actually pulled out the like Italian accent, but like, oh,
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
like it to Sam Wilson. I'm just leaving the place and everyone's like, why are you talking like that? I'm a committed to the bit.
Alex, you're
That's
up. What did you
incredible.
do this week?
Yeah. Well, last week at the end of the week I was dying. So that was
But you're
fun.
not dead.
No, luckily, the Grim Reaper's boat has a weight limit, so they had to leave me behind. But so I'm good. I got to stay this time. They allowed me. The double decker buses or boats don't. It takes a while for them to come in. So but anyway, so I've been catching up on a lot of comic reading. I've been blazing through. Y'all boys know me, Captain America. But one fun nerd thing that I did pick up this week. That I was at the end of last week that I was super hype about is I don't know if you guys are aware, but back in the day, like 80s, 90s, Marvel teamed up with like a bunch of different organizations. Like one was the Center for Exploited Children, so there was like a Spider-Man and Power Pack thing, like a comic where they talk about the dangers of getting kidnapped, essentially. And then
Mhm.
there was one where like it was Daredevil, and it was in association with like the fire department or something, and it was about like gas leaks or whatever. So they were doing all these like public service announcement kind of
Yeah, like
things.
educational.
Exactly. So I love those. I love collecting them. I have the Daredevil one. I have the Power Pack Spider-Man one, and there's another one. Damn it, I have it. I forgot what character it is. But anyway, I collect those, and I've been hunting down the Captain America one, and I finally found it. And it is. I know it might be flipped for y'all, but it's Captain America: The Return of the Asthma Monster. So
Okay.
Something you're very aware of, yeah.
thank you. Yes. So my
Yeah.
two things that are very important to me: Captain America and asthma. So I got to get that. It's an association with what is it? Your physician and Allen and it's something division of the. It's some crazy shit. But anyway, I'm super hype. I love not dumb, but I love really weird stuff back then.
Campy. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It was like,
yeah.
how do we get the kids to learn about the asthma? Put a Captain America in it. So
Honestly, I think we need to bring that back. Like, I think we need to
dude,
like,
hell
do
yeah.
like modern day like superheroes. Like talking about like the new thing like with vaping and like all the other crazy online addiction,
Ooh.
all that. I'm like half joking, but also kind of half serious. Like, I think that'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah,
And
I,
def.
I kind of
genuine.
yeah.
I was gonna say,
But
can you imagine Iron
yeah.
Man like being like Iron Man versus the antagonistic AI? And it's like just him against Chat GPT. Um,
Ultron gets infected by ChatGPT.
and he's just like, Avengers, you gooners, dang it, just like it's taking me over. But enough about me. Robert, what about you? What is the nerdy stuff you've been getting into this week?
Yeah, I mean, like Solarpunk says, I've been trying to catch up with all of my watching stuff. So I watched the 2 episodes of Daredevil that we're going to talk about very shortly, as well as I read some of my comics, and I put some of my comics up on this wall back here. There we go. I'm very proud to say that I was able to pick up X-Men number 200 and Mutants number 35. Those are the issues where Magneto starts to take over the X-Men and the New Mutants in the place of Charles while he's like getting absolutely destroyed. So it's a really good. Both of those issues are fantastic, showing how great Magneto can be. It makes me really excited for the eventual iteration that we'll get into the MCU in maybe, I don't know, 20 years or so. Yeah, so I did that, as well as I didn't watch episode 4 of Invincible, but I watched episode 3. Really enjoyed episode 3. Heard some iffy things about 4, but I'm still going to go in with an open mind. And then I've been playing a ton of Coral Island, which is it's very much Stardew Valley. But I've been playing a ton of like heavy competitive games lately that have been like tilting the hell out of me. So I was like, I just need something that I can like go plant stuff, go like mine, and have fun. So I've been playing that, and then I
Yeah,
got my
just a
wife
nice
to
like
download
cozy
it.
game.
Exactly, yeah. And then the new Starfield update came out today, so I'm probably gonna jump back into Starfield and start a new character and check that out and see if it fixed all the issues that I had with it when it first came out.
I tried Starfield and played it for like a month, and I just like could not get into it. I don't know. It just like felt like so many fetch quests, and the all the like planets that you go to were just so barren and bland, and I was just like, I just can't. Like usually I can like get through like these like Bethesda type games, and you know what you get into like with them, but like it's just like this one was just a little too empty for me,
Yeah.
and I just dropped it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So I'm really excited to jump back into it and see
Yeah.
if and what they fixed. I know they released a bunch of new DLCs as well with like cars to drive around now and stuff. So,
Okay. That
uh,
yeah. Anything to make the like kind of like transportation faster and quicker, because
yeah,
that was my other complaint. It was just like it took forever to get to places. So that's good that it's still getting well needed support. And similar to like I think like with like I think Fallout 76 when it first came out, it was kind of a nightmare, but now like it's very stable. Like there's a community behind it. So, maybe if there's enough good updates, maybe I'll jump back into it.
Fallout 76 is so much fun. I loved it. I love it now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It is the game that I go back to every once in a while when I'm just like, I just need to like, I want to play Fallout, but not the actual story. I just need the fetch quests, and I go in there and I build my
Really?
base, and then I just like have fun and level up my character. It's a lot of fun. I think it's
I've
completely underrated.
I've tried to get back into Fallout 76. The back end by like I tried it once and I was like, the fuck is going on here? And then I've come back to it like 2 other times and I can't. I can't stick to it. I always exit, I walk out front, Walton Goggins is talking to me, and I'm like, okay, but what do I do? Where's my dad? Like I guess I'm the type of Fallout player where I'm like, I need the story. Tell me what
Mm.
I'm doing.
Hmm.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
But speaking of stories, let's go ahead and jump into our very first topic for this episode. And it's the
Ooh.
story of Daredevil Born Again, episodes 2 and 3. So this will be your spoiler warning for Born Again, episode 2 and 3. Feel free to
We
come
got a
back
little
in. Yes, I'm
spoiler
putting it
banner.
up right
Perfect.
now. I forgot to set that up before the stream started, but I'm doing that right now. So while I do that, guys, no spoilers, overall thoughts. What did you think about episodes 2 and 3? And did you like one more than the other?
Yeah, I like speaking to like when I spoke to Alex the first time of episode 1. I
Mhm.
think they're just like building momentum each episode, and it's just like getting like bigger, just like bolder and nonstop. Like I think episode 2 was, I think I like the double episode because episode 2 kind of set everything in motion for all to pay off in episode 3 to kind of like with the height of the climax and fight scenes and action and stuff. So very much like episode 2 was nice. It was great. It was a good like breathing room episode, and then you just like go straight into all the action and all the like the suspense and everything with episode 3.
Sweet. Alex,
No,
how about you?
no, I agree with a lot of the same stuff. And Solar Punk and I, we talked a little bit about it in our chat, last week when the new episodes dropped. And it's I think he's right on. It's so good. It is so good. Whatever concerns I had with like the first episode being like, well, are they going to build off this? Is this going to feel more of the same? A little bit of it does, but it's so good that it reminds me of why I remember I told my wife and I was telling my brother, it felt like I was watching Daredevil for the first time. These 2 episodes, they were so good. I remember I told her I was like, feels like I was watching Daredevil for the first time again. It's just my brother wasn't there with me. We weren't eating Twinkies and monsters at 4 a.m. But no, it was so good. The action is insane. I'm so excited for this next episode that we're getting tomorrow. But man, I didn't feel this last season, but in just these 2 episodes, I'm like last year, everybody was, or not, I think it was 2 years ago at this point, everybody was like, Daredevil's back, born again. So good, we're here. I never felt that with Born Again, but this, I feel it in season 2. Like I'm like, we're back. This feels great. I'm hyped to get more of whatever they're cooking here. I love it. It's so good that it's making me forget that it's the same shit that I've gotten before, which I'm fine with because there's only so many. I mean, if they can repackage it, I don't care with eating the same sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we've I don't know how many times we've seen. We have to tell everyone that Fisk is doing something bad, and Fisk looks to some guy and goes like, "Kill random people," and then Matt goes, "I can't believe you killed random people, Karen." And Karen's like, "What if we kill them first?" And Matt's like, "We can't do that, God." And so like, I just think it's very good. It's very good that I'm getting similar stuff that we've gotten before, but it's packaged so nicely that I'm like, give me more of it. Feed me again, Daddy. I'm down. Robert, what did you think of these last 2 episodes?
I know that I was on the opposite side of the spectrum. I think episode 1, where I enjoyed it. No, in episode 1, I was like, I enjoyed it, but I was like, kind of hesitant. Yeah, episodes 2 and 3 completely just like took away anything that I was afraid of coming through. Especially episode 3, and I can't wait to talk like more about it. The spoiler thing is up.
Yeah.
So, but there is so much right about episode 3. And I'm just gonna jump into it, man. The smaller character, what Marvel is doing right now, is completely like mind blowing to me that they are making these like smaller secondary characters so goddamn amazing in these shows. I mean, like, of course, like Alex and I were gushing about Trevor Slattery for Wonder Man, and then now, I mean, we're getting. I wouldn't consider Karen Page a secondary character. I would consider also a main character, but like Jacques, the swordsman,
He's
like,
so good.
he shines so much in episodes 2 and especially 3, where like there were parts in there that I was like smiling ear to ear because I was like, damn, like this is a Marvel, like this is a comic book, like this is like you would see these things, and like the choices that Matt makes in that episode, it's just so fantastic. And of course, Alex, like you said, there are the things of like what like Matt Murdock being like, what, I can't believe he did that, and it's like, come on, dog, like,
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course, I don't think it's ever been to this scale. Of course, prove me wrong, of blowing up an entire ship, but I was like, damn, like I feel like
Didn't
let's
he demolish a building with people inside of it in the first season?
Oh yes, I guess like there was like, but I mean like he's purposely
I get
was
what you're
like,
saying.
he was like,
yeah.
keep these guys on the ship.
Yeah.
And of course, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, it's rip, like GG for them.
Mine was like they were already talking about like potentially not having witnesses, but when the guy was like, "We're ready to go home to our family," I was like, "Oh, he's not going to see his family."
Yeah, it's basically the same line of like, man, I can't wait to retire tomorrow. And
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we're just never gonna see him again.
Yeah, it's the part of the Call of Duty game where he's all like, my final tour. Can't wait to crack open a beer and be by the pool with the kids.
Yeah.
Solar Punk, I want to jump immediately to you with this also. Of course, like, what did you think about the start of the minor characters, as well as was there anything that kind of surprised you overall, or like you're really, really looking forward to with the coming season?
So yeah, no. When you were talking about minor characters, like the first thing I really thought of was Angela Del Toro, like the kind of like the new White Tiger of like
Mm-hmm.
taking over for her uncle, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like just really great. Like we only got to see her for like maybe like 10 or so minutes, but I think it was really impactful. Like kind of seeing the kind of like resistance and everything from the AVTP from episode 2 when during that whole shopping center debacle with the robbery and the cops just taking anyone who is just interfering with their business at all, which is very just reflective of what's currently happening in our world right now, unfortunately, and her like just like seeing it in real time and saying, you know what, I'm tired, I'm not gonna like put my head down, like people like she understood that her uncle needed to do what he needed to do to um, just to fight back, to like take a stand and not take it anymore, and to the point where like she takes over, and she was really helpful. Like I really was a little worried when she first introduces herself to Karen. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna mess up the whole operation or something, or she's gonna do something, she's gonna be too bold. But she was really helpful, like in terms of like collecting all the radios and weapons and everything. And then at that very end, when they're about to get away and they're like, oh, we gotta chase after them, then like with the slash tire, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect. Like they're not just making her like a side character, they're making her like
Mm-hmm.
very useful. And also I just think that is just really great for especially like younger viewers, seeing that, like seeing a younger hero, not just like these adults, where they can be like, hey, I can be helpful in my community too. I can stand up to these bullies and these people
Yeah.
that are interfering in my community as
Yeah.
well. I can and have someone kind of be that young representation for them.
And a younger Latino hero, which we already don't
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of in general, right?
Exactly.
Which I think is really cool. But you did mention something I wanted to hit on real quick, Solar Punk. I think these guys, the showrunners for this new season of Daredevil, they're definitely doing what the Russos what the Russos do a little bit in their Marvel films, where they're making sure these guys have like moments, like
Mm-hmm.
and they're really impactful moments. And like you said, she got her moment. There's a lot of other, like Robert mentioned, like swordsman and stuff had some great moments. And I'm excited to see the other moments that these characters are going to keep getting. One thing I do want to mention though that I forgot to mention on the top was I like, and maybe this might be a hot take, but Daredevil, when they're doing that, it's supposed to be a one-shot fight scene, but you could tell like where the
Mhm.
cuts are, like it's not a true oneer, right? But when he's saving people, like when like he's pulling down the whatever it's called, like the
The steam
thing.
pipe or
There you
whatever.
go,
Yeah.
yeah. And like
Yeah.
he's actively telling people to get down. He's actually putting himself in front of stuff. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if it's weird to say. I feel like we don't get a lot of that anymore. Like we don't get a lot of superheroes actually doing the superhero part. Like
Yeah. It's
last
more
year,
about the action and fighting and
Mm-hmm.
less about the
yeah,
saving, which
ex-
I agree. Yeah.
yeah. And last year we had some people were like, well, Superman was saving a squirrel. It was so crazy for us because we don't see Captain America. I'm sorry. I love Steve Rogers. I love Sam Wilson. Name me 5 times those bitches are saving people in the movies. Like there are a couple times like where Sam Wilson will stop the Hulk from hitting the SWAT guys, or Captain America will jump in front of the grenade or whatever. But they're not actively pulling people out of fires like Spider-Man. They're not
Mhm.
actively, and I feel like Daredevil does that so well. And I was so glad to see that because, like Robert said, it was one of those moments for me where I was like, I'm grinning, dude. Like that was so cool just to be like, look, he's saving bitches. That's
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Yeah, no, I think like that's a really good point, Alex, about the whole saving things. I feel like that's what we miss with these larger than life battles that we get with a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
MCU, where it's like, yeah, Spider-Man's in space, or hey, they're fighting Thanos on Titan, or of course, badass moments, right? But that
Mm-hmm.
do end up in that punch, beat up bad guy sort of thing. Where now we are getting this focus on like this is what it truly means to be a hero. Like
Hmm.
Matt, of course, like he has like a somewhat echolocation or whatever, has like some
Yeah.
sort of ability. But really, what is just him is he has this ability to fight, and he knows what's right and wrong. So that's
Hmm.
what he's fighting. And of course, with Angela, it's great to see that, like you said, in such a young person. With a lot of the craziness that we see with kids nowadays,
Hmm.
but like to see that, like, hey, it's okay to stand up to authoritarianism. It's okay to do that. Do not be afraid to go up there and to fight the good fight. So I'm very excited to see where this continues to go. But another question for y'all: do you think that white tiger is going anywhere, or do you think that this is going to be relegated to like a side character every once in a while to show up in Daredevil? Do you think she might be a part of a new team in the show? What do y'all think about that?
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
I know there have been talks about like a whole like young Avengers team, you know, with like Kate Bishop and who else are
Kate Bishop,
Ant-Man's
Riri
daughter,
Williams,
Mm-hmm.
Cassie
Ant-Man's
Lang,
daughter, yeah.
yeah,
So like, you know,
America
I think
Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then like Hulk's son as well. I can't remember his
Yes.
name as well,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like you know, there were like rumors when a few years ago, and I'm like, you know, we keep getting all these like younger actors. I'm like, I'm hoping that Marvel will actually like pay that off and create some sort of like young Avengers team up. Like even if it's like a just a mini series, like it's like 4 episodes, and they're
Hmm.
all like working together, and it kind of be like mentor mentee, kind of like similar to like the Young Justice like animated TV show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, like I would really love to see that. Will it actually happen with Marvel? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not as hopeful as Solar Punk because I genuinely feel like this is going to be this is relegated to Daredevil Born Again. I feel like that's it, and I feel like this is a little bit of how do you say it? You know how like in Civil War when Civil War was coming out. Before we got it confirmed that Black Panther was going to be in it, before we got it confirmed that Spider Man was going to be in it, there was concept art of Agent 13 of the other Carter girl. She was going to be on Cap's team. There was like concept art where she was going to be because they just had to pad out the team, right? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the only reason we're getting White Tiger is because we don't have the Spider-Man in this world right now. We don't have the Iron Fist down the street. Like, it looks like we're getting him later, right? But as of right now, I feel like White Tiger is like, well, hey, we're having a vigilante movement and we are really short on vigilantes. So they're kind
Yeah.
of and I think she's a great character. I'm glad. I hope to see her do more. I have a feeling that's going to be relegated to Daredevil Born Again. If we see her in something else, that would be fantastic because that's what they're doing with Swordsman. He was in, the Hawkeye show, and now we have him more here. But I don't know. I would hope so, but like Solarpunk said, I feel like with Marvel, probably not
Yeah.
likely unless a famous actor tweets about it. I don't think Marvel's going to do anything.
Yeah, and
Unfortunately.
the other thing, the other problem with like having younger based like TV show is about aging out, right? Like we've seen it like with like the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, where the production like they would need to like film something like now, like right now, and film it back to back, so then that way there's like that continuity of like their appearance and their age and stuff. Versus because if you wait like 2 or 3 years, they're basically going to be fully grown adults. Like we saw that with Percy Jackson and Avatar and all these
Mm-hmm.
other like younger based things. Where if production is not filming back to back, there's going to be that age gap, and you're just going to be like, okay, they're no longer kids.
Yeah,
So
we're 3 Harry Potter movies in, and Daniel Radcliffe looks 24. Like, it's just one of those things. But
My last thought. Oh, Alex, you
Yep.
good?
Alex is breaking
Oh,
up.
okay.
no. Go
My
go go
last
ahead. Go ahead. I'm used to getting walked on.
my
No,
last
I'm kidding.
kind of question was was gonna be about everything going on with the Muse mask.
Mm.
How are we feeling about that? I'm kind of
Oh,
excited with kind of seeing the therapist. I forgot her name already. It sucks that I'm doing that.
Heather.
That I
Yeah.
forgot her Heather.
Heather.
Thank you.
Heather.
I love that we are seeing her kind of slowly fall into this like madness, very Typhoid Mary esque. I think like very
Hmm.
like towards like the comic books like that. Where do you think that she is going to put on the mask and become the new Muse, and is that something that you're
Yeah.
excited about, or is that something you're like, I'm kind of not really?
Go ahead,
I don't
Silicon.
know much about like Muse the character, but like I in terms of like what Alex has told me, it would make sense that she would become Muse, whether it she's doing it fully on her own or what Alex was saying, like his like kind of like afterlife types like possession ability. Maybe it's
Yeah.
something like where it's not really her; it's actually like Muse like manipulating her and controlling her, and you know, and then she will become Muse through him.
hmm like Solarpunk saying, there's a storyline with Muse where he I forgot what the word is, but it's like where you possess someone. He like possesses someone after I think it's like his first death, because everyone fucking dies 14 times. But um, he has that story arc, and I do think she's gonna become Muse. I'm not excited about it mainly because I feel like Daredevil has planted itself like, yes, we'll do Hector's pendant that makes him a little bit stronger. Yes, we'll do the echolocation thing. We'll do all that. Um, but having a villain that comes back to possess someone from the dead, I think that's a little step too far for Daredevil. I feel like they're trying to be semi-grounded. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But what I feel like is going to end up happening is she's going to take on the moniker of Muse, and it's going to be like, I was driven crazy. Now I'm Muse, and I feel like it's going to be less interesting than what it could be. And the main reason that I feel like that's what's going to happen is because that's what they already did with Muse in the first season. Like they already went like, here's this guy with this cool power set. It's one of Daredevil's biggest new enemies in the like. I would he's Daredevil's Mr. Negative, like a newer
Mm.
villain that got a lot of really good traction. And they just fucked all in the first season. So I'm a little worried that's what they're gonna do with this one, but that's just me.
I don't know.
I think
What
I'm
do what
pretty
do you think,
excited.
Robert? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I think it'd be a really cool thing. I don't think if they go through it, it'll be a mystical spin on it. I do think it will definitely be like the. I think it's a really interesting idea of like having the person that is, a psychiatrist also fall prey to, her own traumas, which is of course unfortunate. But I think it's a really cool storytelling beat to kind of go throughout, as well as have a new sub villain. I don't think she'll get her own season. I think she'll get like maybe an episode or two,
Yeah.
battling against like what it means to be fighting against it. But I do think like it is super cool to see that they're doing something with her before they inevitably kill her off and be like, hey, we don't really need you anymore. Karen's back in the picture.
hmm
So I'm very excited to see where
Yeah.
that goes, and hopefully we'll see a lot more with this coming forward.
I was going to say, but kudos on Marvel for coming up with a new archetype for a villain that we've never seen before. Where have we ever seen a therapist psychiatrist that works with the villains who are going to trial and in prison, and then they themselves put on a scary mask? We've never seen it before, so I'm really glad they're taking big
First time.
swings.
First time.
First
First time,
time.
yeah.
First
No
time.
one's
No,
ever done it before.
no,
But
but I
Robert,
agree with.
oh, sorry.
Oh, I was
No, go
just gonna say I do agree with Robert. Like with like kind of like I like the idea of like the cycle of like abuse or a cycle of like torment,
Mm-hmm.
where the person who is victimizing or the victim eventually becomes the victimizer, and this cycle of like trauma is really interesting. And yeah, like having her kind of become what she most feared is
Mm-hmm.
just like very interesting, and hopefully we'll see more of Muse in just like a different way.
Oh yeah, you're hitting it right on the head because her whole thing is like vigilantes take the law into their own hands and make it what they want. What's that? You want me to change the paperwork to make the laws what I want? That's good. Like she's already
Yep.
doing it. It's
Yep.
just
It's a
in the
slippery slope,
paperwork.
you know.
Yep.
You
That
Mm-hmm.
scene
you
was
like
so good,
you
though.
start like erasing things one day, and then you start killing people the next. It's yeah.
That's what Batman says. But Robert, speaking of Daredevil stuff, there's another new Daredevil thing that came out just last week that I know we wanted to talk about a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit. Robert, do you mind if I introduce this one?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So, guys, what we are talking about is last week we had the issue one of the new Stephanie Phillips and I'm sorry, how do you pronounce Lee's
Lee Garbett.
Lee Garbett.
Garbett? There you go. With art by Lee Garbett. Oh, look at us! Oh, look at us! Look at
Oh,
us! And look at my shitty blind bag cover that I was so mad about. Oh, I'm so upset. Look at that!
Oh
oh,
yeah.
Look at that
you
bullshit. I
got the
was
Muse.
I was so
Yeah.
mad. I
Remember,
was
did you
so
pick up a
upset.
blind bag?
I did not pick up a blind bag. My
Oh,
wife was
okay.
very, very gracious enough to go for me because I had a really busy day at work. So I called in ahead. I was like, "Can you pull these comics for me?" Because I knew like maybe 8 covers would also be gone. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, "I'm not gonna make my wife fight tooth and nail to get a blind bag." So yeah, I did not unfortunately pick one up.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We're just
Yeah.
better than you.
Yes, exactly.
Um,
No, I mean, I was really impressed with like thankfully like there were a lot of people at the store. They were just like buying like one, two, and then they got what they got. In the past, especially I think when the ultimate blind bag came out, there were people buying 10, 15 blind bags, and I'm like, guys, this is like you think you're just gonna like get like that one in one sketch cover, but you're just gonna end up with like 10 of the B cover, 3 of the A cover, and maybe like one ratio. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I go back and forth of like I think blind bags are a great thing for the comic book community, but also a terrible thing for the comic community. Back and forth and talk about it. But my general rule is like I just get like one, and whatever I get is whatever I get. If I like really want like like a second one, I'll get like a second one very rarely. Like I think for like the Batman, Matt Fraction Batman, I bought two just because like it was my first ever blind bag. I was like, okay, and I actually got the Gabriel Dell'Otto variant for the Blind as the Bat one as well. So I have two
dang.
Dell'Ottos. So
Nice.
I mean, I remember I did that one and I got two Frank Quietly Batmans from the
mm,
blind bag, but I was pissed because I got two blind bags. I got two Frank Quietly Batman covers, and then I had already bought the Frank Quietly one and one that was already opened because I really wanted the Frank Quietly cover. So I just had three, and I think I gave one to Robert.
You did.
I was like, I
It's
have
sitting in my
so
short box down there.
like I had so many Frank Quietly ones. But
so
so
do we want to go into spoilers for this book,
I mean,
or just like talk about general vibes first?
well, I would say before we go into spoilers, because we're gonna go directly into spoilers, but before we go into spoilers in the book, I would say out of five, what would you guys give
Mm.
this first issue of Daredevil? I see Solar Punk thinking hard, so I'll start with Rob. Um,
Ooh, out of five. Are
out
we
of
allowing
five,
decimals? We're allowing decimals.
you know what? If it's gonna be like that, I'll do a 10. You can do 10.
Okay, okay,
You
okay.
can do
I
10.
think out of a 10, I think it's a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. It's a great setup. There's a lot of really cool seeing, Matt Murdock in a very different light, of course. Like he is a law professor now as well. But it's really, really cool. I think I'm caught up in Daredevil fever right now. Where of course we're getting a great show, and then we're getting a great new run with a great artist and a great writer. And I'm like, I'm really enjoying it. So overall, I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I don't want to go too much into the story until we go into spoilers. But that is my number. Alex, what about you?
I'm gonna be this book. You know what? I love the art. I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's a panel in here in particular that took my breath away. I thought it was so good. With that being said, this shit is like maybe a 4 for me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and I have a very specific reason why it's a 4, and I'll tell you guys more when we get into spoilers. But I was a little disappointed, and I kind of, I was expecting a little bit more. But with that being said, I am also grading on a curve because this is an issue one.
Hmm.
This is an issue one, and you gotta. For me, I'm always gonna, grade like that. Like if it wasn't that I'm taking into the issue one thing, maybe like a 3 for me, honestly. And
Wow.
I'll get into why in a little bit, but I don't know. That's just me. But Solar Punk, what about you? What about you?
So I was gonna say because like you said like this feels like an issue one, and I feel like that's the reason that I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Uh,
Okay,
Wow.
yeah,
okay.
I
We're
I
all over the board
really
here.
I thoroughly enjoyed this issue. Like, I feel like an issue one needs to like, if you've never read Daredevil ever in your life, you need an introduction of who this character is, and you need to like set up like the kind of baseline of where he's at in his career, and make like a nod to like what he's done in the past, like to please like longtime fans of Daredevil, which they do that, and then also set up kind of like the big bad and they do that straight from the jump in this first issue. Even on the first page, we get introduced to the villain of this series, Omen, and yeah, like I thought it just like hit all the marks. The art is just fantastic. This is my first time seeing Lee Garbet's art. I know he has done a lot of DC stuff, surprisingly, because I only started collecting comic books starting back in September, so I'm still like kind of new and like learning about other artists and stuff. But apparently, he's done a lot of DC. But I just like love his kind of like drawing and layout and just like displaying the action of Daredevil a lot. And plus, Stephanie's writing, I think she does a very great job um, of like having like smooth transitions and smooth dialogue where she's not like explaining the art, she's not over explaining, she's not explaining the art that's happening there, and she feels like she really has like a voice for like Matt. And she said like that she is a huge Daredevil fan, and I can see that like in this book. Like this feels like it's like similar to what we're seeing on Daredevil Born Again. So yeah, so that's why I give it a 9.
I think we should
Okay.
go ahead and jump right into spoilers. And immediately I'm gonna agree with you with a lot on this Soda Punk. That I think that she does fantastic, especially talking about like, oh, you were a mirror at one point. You were also Nelson Murdock. His he immediately. I think it's perfect. Like she sets up the big bad. She sets
Hmm.
up a new potential love interest slash possible like work rival, and then
Yes.
shows you like what it is to be Daredevil with him like swinging with his billy club across the city, being like, "I love this. This is my city."
Hmm.
But throwing it right back to you, Solar Punk, you really went into detail. What did you think overall about specifics about this book?
Yeah. So kind of going into like what issue one does in terms of introducing you to the character for the first time. Right on the kind of like title page, you get that little blurb of like, hey, when Matt Murdock was a kid, lost his eyesight involving chemicals and no longer see. So like, there are ways that you can kind of explain the origin with doing like a little text blurb or just like visually like talking about it in the actual comic. I think this is fine. Like I think this is great. Again, you don't need a lot to do like an origin story and everything, but just to introduce you to the character, and then like where in the beginning pages where like Daredevil is just like going through and he's like, just kind of just describing how he's feeling. And you get to like see how he is really taking every action and describing everything in a way where um, it just like makes you feel like part of the action. But also, I'm trying to like find the part where he actually says it, um, where he just like is in his element, where he just knows how to react, knows where every piece of action is going to end up because he's been doing it for a while. Um, Versus when he gets his first interaction with Omen, he's thrown off. He can't like sense uh, uh, anything from Omen, like whether it's like maybe like Omen is like not living or just something, but he is like thrown off.
It's right here, I
Yes.
believe. Yeah, so it's the
Yes.
second to last page.
Yes. Is like he goes like, yeah, the kitchen is my home, and no matter how many new coffee shops or whatever, like I'll know it most my most intimate relationship, and yeah, and
Yeah.
I know every noise and every smell that they're part of me. So like that sets up the baseline of where he's at, and then he's just like completely thrown off. It's like I don't recognize the voice. The timbre changes with every word, and just didn't even sense Omen in the room when he entered. And normally Daredevil knows everything, and in the Daredevil Born Again um, show, like he's reacting before the enemies react. That's always kind of like been his vibe, and now he's experiencing something that he just doesn't know how to react to.
Alex, what about you, man? We're spoilers in spoiler territory now. What did you specifically kind of not like about going into this?
Uh, well, first off, I want to say the things that I really did like because Solar Punk is bringing up some great stuff in the book. Like the writing is very good. Like the overall moment to moment writing with how Matt, like you said, is reacting to things, how he kind of, and exactly like you said, it's great for new readers. It's explaining to you how this blind guy perceives space and the things happening around him. So it locks you in on that immediately. There's a great panel in here. It's right here where he's kind of like going over kind of the different eras of Daredevil, and
Yeah.
it's so beautiful, so cool. Absolutely love it. The thing that upsets me and makes this a whole big old shitty shit pile is, and it's not a big shitty shit pile, but I've already read this shit, and I get that all comic books are going to be slightly derivative, um, but there is a story from another character within Marvel that's not super old where Peter Parker goes to teach at a school. He's dealing with how he feels about his neighborhood and everything. He runs into an otherworldly entity being Morden and Ezekiel Sims, and he starts telling him different stuff about him and how he's destined to die and all this shit. And it just felt like exactly what I was reading right now. And it felt so derivative to me that I was upset reading it because I was like, I really wanted more out of this, and I feel like I'm not getting enough new ideas. And I felt super excited because I think Stephanie Phillips brings in a lot of great ideas to everything she writes. So for me, it just felt very derivative of some Spider-Man stories, and there's just for me coming off of, I don't know about you guys, but I read all of the Ahmed run that just happened recently. I'm a little over some of the supernatural stuff with Daredevil. We just got so much of that in the Ahmed
Mm.
run, and it wasn't good. And so when we come in, there seems to be an otherworldly figure. It just feels like I'm getting more of the Daredevil stuff that I didn't want, and the stuff that is new and different is just the Spider-Man totem bullshit that we got with Ezekiel Sims. And that's just me. Maybe I'm being a real big Debbie bitch about it, but that really took me out of the book, and I'm interested to see where it's going to keep going. I hope that it's much better than this first issue, but for me, man, I don't know, and I hate that because I was so excited about this book. It just didn't quite hit the mark for me personally.
Do you think you are hit with a little bit of disappointment because of how much you put onto it, knowing that it's going to be one, it's a new number one, and two, it's going to be a Stephanie Phillips book, and then three, like just getting riled up with all the other hype around it, or do you think it's truly just like you said, like you feel like it's a little derivative?
For me, I think it's more the writing because as much as I'm like, I do love Stephanie Phillips. I love her Captain America stuff she's done. Her Red Skull one shot she did was absolutely fantastic. I love the Planet She Hulk stuff she's doing right now. Um, I think it's just the writing of it, and I think the big thing outside of it being derivative, I think the bigger thing for me is it doesn't feel enough like a jump for me that justifies this whole new creative team from the last volume that we just got of Daredevil. Because like if this is what we were going to do, I don't see why we should have stopped the Ahmed stuff. I don't see why we should have gotten the whole new creative, kick in the nuts that this thing had. Because at this point, I would have much rather seen whatever they were going to do with rekindling Daredevil and Elektra's relationship at the end of that run than whatever is going on here. But again, I'm being super hard on it. I'm hoping the next issue I feel better about it. But reading this, man, and maybe you're right, Rob. Maybe a little bit of it was the hype. But I try to go into these new number ones as like for me, for new readers, I understand this is the number one. This might be my first comic book. But for me, I'm always like, this is not number one. This is issue 734, but they've renumbered it to make it accessible. So that's how I'm going into it. And even with that being said, I don't know. I think the big thing is I'm soured on it because it feels derivative, but I'm also soured that being someone who read the entirety of that last run, this just feels like more of the same shit that I didn't like from the last run, unfortunately. But, I hope I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
No, I get what you mean because like coming from the opposite side of that, like I am mostly like a DC reader, like 95,
Mm-hmm.
or I would say like 85% of what I read is DC, um, and then like 10% is independent stuff, and then that other like 5% is like a little bit of Marvel. I'm
Bless you.
sorry. This is this is actually my first Daredevil like ongoing series that I've like read ever. Like so like I haven't read any of the I think I've read like part of the first volume of Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil volume 1. And then I read Daredevil Cold Day in Hell from Charles Soule because someone at my comic book shop recommended to me, and I was like, I need to read something of Daredevil related before Stephanie Phillips to kind of know what's going on. But that's not
Mhm.
even really that's like a kind of so yeah, this is like truly like my first like introduction to Daredevil, and as like a new Marvel-ish reader, I really liked it because like I haven't been burdened by like the mid run or any of the other Daredevil or Marvel storylines and stuff. So I think it's like really good for people that just like have not really gotten into any comics. Like I would be like, get this as a first comic book to really get you to start your collection.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think where this book I was like, I think where this book really shines for me is that it feels really noir already, at least to me. Where I'm like, I like that, like, oh yeah, like all kind of gruff and such. Like this is kind of what I'm going through, and this is where I'm at, and this is how I'm gonna deal with things. There's a specific panel in here that I really really love that just like reminds me so much of like noir movies, noir games, and stuff that I really love. But it's right here was like, oh, the killer took souvenirs, and it shows the eye hole, and then immediately
Mhm.
the next panel is the two,
Is the
is
yes
the
is
two,
the two ice cubes.
yeah, and I played a video game a few years back called Judgment. It's in like the Yakuza like a dragon universe. It kind of follows the same sort of thing where like all these mobsters are showing up around the city, murdered, and they're missing their eyes. And so immediately I'm like, oh, like that's cool. Like of course maybe they're not going to go in that direction or whatever. But I think like where Alex finds it a little bit more on the negative side of being like a little derivative. I'm like, okay, cool. I like to see when people are taking a new stab at certain things. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And of course, like I think I can't put that on it right now because I mean, like I said, it's issue 1. This is what we've gotten so far. This is the setup of the world, and I know you said Alex, you graded it on a scale, so it's a little bit higher. But to me, it's like okay, cool. If you're gonna give me this, I want to see where Stephanie Phillips she is going to take it, and she carries the voice of Daredevil so well in this book. She writes like characteristics like she's such a charming writer. She does it with She-Hulk. She does it with Daredevil here. So I'm really excited to see where this continues to go. I love the panel where like he is like talking to the other teacher walking in, the other professor,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
like it's like him being like kind of caught off guard and then turning away, and he has like a little smirk on his face, and I'm like, I love that. I love like that sort of like Matt Murdock, like, oh, you're calling me on my shit. Okay, I see that. And
Yeah.
to have that sort of interaction because it's really great to see just characters. Of course, we know them as Daredevil, but to see Matt Murdock as well. So I'm really excited to see where she goes a little bit more with the charming punch of this character. Any other final
Um,
thoughts with Daredevil?
well, I wanted to say, Rob, I think, you kind of made me see my perspective a little different, in a different way. I think I see this issue like Amazing Spider-Man 2, where I think there's some great Daredevil stuff. I just think overall, I'm not liking the story that's being told. And I think that's my biggest thing is because, like you said, and I even mentioned it earlier, there's some great Daredevil moments in here. There's some great like character stuff. But story wise, I don't know. I think that's the thing. And maybe that's where, as we get into more of the characters, I'll be more excited than the story necessarily.
Yeah.
Um,
And I was gonna say, like, this is in issue 1. We barely know anything about like Omen. From what we've heard from Stephanie Phillips, like she said that it's been kind of like loosely based off like Greek mythology. So I don't know if Daredevil runs have hit that mythology aspect before, but also Omen is very much not after Daredevil, but specifically has beef with Matt Murdock himself. And I don't know if again that might have been explored in uh, other runs as well.
yeah.
But I think hopefully Stephanie has being again her being a big fan, she knows what's been done before, so hopefully she can kind of give like her perspective and her take, and it just might take like 2 or 3 issues to really get going there, just because like I really don't we really don't know enough about Omen yet to really see how this is going to follow out and follow through. But from what
Yeah.
I have read, I do like it. I do like the characterization and how she is like really displaying Matt and Daredevil separately.
Well, I think you kind of brought up an interesting point. The mythology of it. In the Ahmed run, Matt fought the physical manifestation of sin.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and he had to like decide between saving Foggy and saving Bullseye, and then he ends up saving Foggy instead of Bullseye, and then he's all Catholic guilt about letting someone
Mm,
die.
mm.
So the supernatural is not new to Daredevil necessarily, but I am a little more excited to see whatever this supernatural thing is going to potentially be, because I think that's a little more, hopefully a little more grounded than Matt fighting a big sin monster. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that just seems a little too on the nose and just like too so and I can because I know the Med run was well hated, very disliked.
Very divisive.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we with this new creative team they can push it in a new direction that we haven't seen before, or something that we have seen before, but again just slightly tilted. I don't know. I'm just a very much optimist, and you know so
No, I'm
and
I'm
the
hoping you're
very
right.
much
I'm hoping you're
limited that
right.
I have read from Stephanie I have really enjoyed. So
I think we have a couple of minutes left in the show. So last thing we wanted to talk about was Wonder Man #1. I
oh
think
yes.
Solar Punk, you and I, we're the only two that have read the book so far. Let's do rapid reviews. So first off, Solar Punk, 1 out of 10. What did you think of Wonder Man #1?
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. I did not really like this first issue.
Oh no.
Specifically, I liked the art. The art was really cool. I really liked the style. Kind of like it felt like kind of 70s 80s, but the dialogue and the writing, it just like it felt also dated, but in a bad way. It felt like this
Oh
like was a
no.
comic that was written in the 80s, and I think they're trying to go for that, like kind of like that again, noir kind of mystery, like Hollywood mystery. But something about the first issue, and I need to reread it again, but just my first kind of take on it. I just was just like, ooh, didn't really like that panel. Like, I think I liked the second half of the book a little bit more than the first half, but yeah. And I think maybe also I had all my preconceptions from the Amazing Wonder Man TV show, and this is like kind of like the complete opposite of that. Like it's very much the comic book version of Wonder Man, which is cool because I wanted to know more about the comic version, but it's just very different from my already perspective of the TV show version of Simon.
Yeah. A quick review from my end. I got the A cover over here. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, I think I would agree with Solar Punk. This is a 4 out of 10, maybe even a
Oh,
three out
okay.
of ten.
Yeah.
I am a huge Wonder Man fan. I love the original '80s run of Wonder Man. I can tell that the writer of this one is a Wonder Man fan. There is a bunch of references towards old Wonder Man stuff. I mean, we talk about with I don't even know her name. She's a Wildcat, I think. That's what her name is.
Hellcat?
Hellcat.
Or
There we go.
yeah.
Where it's like, oh hey, we met once before in a West Coast Avengers, blah 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 blah, or whatever, and they talks about like him getting captured by Zemo and getting his powers and stuff like that. So you can tell there is a lot of love for this character, but overall, it just seems like a big nothing burger. It's very. I think where Alex felt about Stephanie Phillips Daredevil 1, I feel about this, or it is very derivative. It doesn't feel like Simon from the comics, at least from the comics that I'm reading of the in the '80s one, where Simon is stubborn he is like really pigheaded and he's very opinionated about the things. And in this one, like he is supposedly a washed up actor that is now supposed to be like caring over a new actor.
Yeah, he's
And
like a babysitter for this guy, and like is
yeah,
just
where he like the guy gets in trouble with like a ton of money, and like there is some like cool aspects of where the story seems like it's gonna be going. But of course I'm gonna continue to pick it up. I'm gonna get all 5 issues to see hopefully if it does pick up. But man, this is a rough start for me. I
yeah.
did not really enjoy this book whatsoever.
Yeah, even with like a limited series, like I'm gonna give it one more issue, and if I don't like issue two, then I just might drop it. Even though it is a limited series, it's just like my budget is tight. I have to buy books that I truly like, and if I'm not looking forward to the book next month, then I don't want to buy it. So, and I was like, I'll save my $5 for another book that I actually am looking forward to. So I'm gonna give it one more chance with issue two. But if it doesn't do like a 180 turnaround, then I might have to drop the series, and I'll just have you tell me what goes on in the rest of the issues.
Alex, any thoughts from our reviews about that?
I mean, honestly, as y'all are
Did we
talking
scare
about it,
you?
Yeah.
Did we
no,
scare
I
you?
mean, I'm. It doesn't deter me from reading it. I literally started while y'all were talking. But no, because like obviously we're on two different ends of the spectrum for the Daredevil thing. So hopefully it'll swing the other way, and this will be my fucking favorite thing.
You'll come in and
Uh,
be like, Wonder Man, amazing.
yeah. I wonder why you're such a stupid man, Robert, for your grading or your rating for it. But I don't know. I am I'm gonna go in after hearing what y'all said, and I'm still gonna be open to it. But you know, unfortunately, and this is just I'm gonna be 110 with you on this. Marvel does this thing that I feel like DC doesn't do a lot, where Marvel is all about synergy, even if it doesn't make sense. So, back in the day, in 2007, when Spider Man 3 was coming out, all of a sudden in the comic books, Spider Man had a black costume again. Did it make sense story wise? No. But they were doing that. Marvel doesn't own the film rights for Fantastic Four. Oh, they don't exist for a few years. Like they love doing that. So Marvel's like people like the Wonder Man series, put it on a comic book. There's a new Captain America Sam Wilson show or movie. Let's do a 5-issue miniseries and then do nothing else with it. I mean, fuck, America Chavez had a thing coming out when Doctor Strange was coming out. Like, and I think it's just one of those things where I'm hoping, we'll get proven wrong after the next couple issues, but it could totally be one of those things where Wonder Man could be to check off the box out of obligation than it is that a creative team came in and said, hey, we got a great new idea. You know what I mean? Because as much as I would love to be like, all comic books are made for the art of it, it is crazy that we just started a new season of Daredevil and kicked off a new comic book that will, at minimum, last 5 issues. And then if, Marvel loves to have brand synergy so they can maybe cut it off later if it's not paying off
Yeah.
the way they want it to. So, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
I will say on the synergy aspect of it, the entire reason that I picked up this book was because of the amazing season that we watched from the
Mhm.
TV show, and I kind of wish, like, I know that they were probably already writing this as they were writing the Wonder Man TV show, but I kind of wish that they would have done a comic adaptation of the TV show that we saw to continue either some like uh, kind of like crazy adventures of Simon and Trevor, or just like at the end of season one where he fully develops his power, get to see like how he like honed in on his abilities
Mhm.
and go into the lore. And I would have liked that version in the comic book versus this. I don't know.
And that's always what stinks, they're gonna have an uphill battle with that because if season 2 of Wonder Man does really well, my conspiracy theory is that he's going to be in Secret Wars. That's why we're having a
Mm.
second season come out. Robert, you can
Ooh.
make your face all you want, but I feel like that's why. Why all of a sudden are we rushing this next season? He's going to be in Secret Wars. That is what I think. And then they're going to
They
have the
never
art.
showed his powers.
What are you
So-
on about? He flew at the end of the show. He's using his powers the whole damn time.
But like, I don't know. I don't think they showed enough of like him overall to warrant it. I'm a big Wonder Man fan. I love the show.
Well,
I
Robert,
don't. I think maybe he'll have a cameo, but that's about it.
if only we had other Wonder Man content being filmed that could show us more of his powers. That's what they're going to do. They're going to show us more superhero stuff. He's going to be in either way. Either way, I'm not going to rage bait with Robert right now, but
Yeah,
my-
bait, Robert. We're just
my
waiting
whole
for it to
thing is
happen.
that I feel like, they're doing that, right? And they're in a weird position because all of a sudden Iron Man 2008 comes out. Tony Stark now is not the Tony Stark we had in 2000. Like, that's not who it is. Steve Rogers now, a little more not nuanced, but a little more in the middle than what he was before. Steve Rogers used to be definitely a little more conservative with his values, I will say, and ignorant to certain things. But my point is, characters adapt to what the popular version of them is. So that's happened with Iron Man, Captain America, all that. The MCUification of the comics is definitely a real thing. And they're gonna have a hard time doing that with Wonder Man, because there's a certain subgroup of people that have never read Wonder Man that will be upset if anything changes. But I think that's just one of those things where you sold the audience on a great interpretation of Wonder Man, and let's be honest. Besides Robert, nobody else is reading Wonder Man. So I'm excited to see if they do kind of shake up anything with the comics, or if they end up pulling a Nick Fury Jr. and Sr., where all of a sudden Wonder Man has a son whose name's Simon Williams, who happens to be biracial. I don't know, but I don't know. I honestly, I'd be down for it. I think definitely, like Solarpunk said, we've sold a lot of people on that version of Wonder Man. I think we need to find a way to bring that over to the comics at caution of pissing off everyone who likes red baseball caps.
Well, that is where we're going to wrap up this episode of the Geekday podcast. Return your weekday into Geekday. Alex, Solarpunk, this was fun. We should do this again.
We should.
Every
Every
week.
Every week.
Every week.
For the rest of our lives.
For the rest of our lives. Except maybe not
You
this
two
Thursday.
definitely every week. Me from time to time.
Yes.
I would love to be a guest and share more thoughts. It's so great to kind of like share everything instead of just like type everything on my phone really quickly and then I run out of characters and then I have to send a 2-part message because I have so many thoughts. So this was nice. Thank you guys for having me on.
No, thank you for
to
coming
kind of,
on, dude. It was great.
Do my little rants.
Of course. And Solarpunk, where can people find you?
I'm just really on TikTok at Solarpunk Visions. So yeah, if you want to hear just like some comic book takes and new comic book day and just like overall thoughts, I try to post once a week and just like share my thoughts on the comic book community as someone who is like a little bit newer. If you're looking for someone who doesn't have like multiple years of comic book knowledge and someone who's approaching this from a newer approach, give me a follow and you can hear my thoughts.
Sweet.
Hell
Well, thank
yeah.
you very much again, Solarpunk. Alex, lovely to see your face.
Robert, displeasure as always.
Love it. And we'll see y'all guys next time.
Bye,
y'all.
everybody. Love you.
Peace.